Hey, here are 5 stupid things I've noticed since last time. Florida police shoot unarmed man in his own driveway. A 60-year-old man named Roy Middleton was shot by sheriff's deputies while looking for a loose cigarette in his mother's car in the driveway of their home near Pensacola, Florida. Apparently, a neighbor saw Roy getting into the car and called 911 for some reason. Police responded and ordered Roy to put up his hands and turn around. And Roy put up his hands, and as he turned to face the deputies, they opened fire on him. They fired a total of 15 rounds. Luckily for Roy, he was only hit in the leg. His injuries weren't life-threatening, but he did require hospitalization and surgery. The police claim that Roy lunged at them as he turned around. Roy says that he didn't take the cops seriously at first because he assumed someone had to be playing a practical joke on him. I mean, why else would sheriff's deputies be pointing their guns at him for getting in his mother's car in the driveway of his own fucking house? Roy must have forgotten that he was unarmed and black, and in Florida, where apparently those two things are all it takes to get you shot. Vatican works damage control after Pope says something less than horrible about gay people. I'm continually amused both by how amazed and excited we all get when Pope Francis turns out to be less of a bastard than his prick of a pontifical predecessor, and by how church officials scramble to calm everyone down after he says something like, oh, for example, "It's not for me to judge homosexuals," which he did on the plane ride home following a recent trip to Brazil. "Homosexuality's still a sin. He never said it wasn't." A chorus of bishops and irritated conservative Catholic commentators reminded us almost as soon as Francis's remarks had been reported. Just like his previous remarks about atheists, the Pope said something moderately human and compassionate, and the Vatican, bam, was right there to remind us all that the Church's antediluvian official doctrine still stands. You know, whatever your opinion of the Catholic Church, the sheer swiftness of it is breathtaking. Those guys are like a bigotry pit crew. Rand Paul and Chris Christie measure their dicks. So Chris Christie cautioned against the libertarian tendencies of some of his fellow Republicans, and specifically he criticized Senator Rand Paul for his opposition to PRISM, the NSA's massive data collection project. And Rand Paul responded by accusing Chris Christie of harming national security by demanding that funds be taken from defense to provide relief and aid to victims of Hurricane Sandy. Now, I'm not a big fan of Chris Christie or PRISM, but complaining about government paying to provide aid and relief to victims of natural disasters is never going to get you on my good side. So fuck Rand Paul. Fuck him for complaining about giving Sandy money to people who need it, and fuck him just for generally being a bitchy little libertarian twerp. Oh, and fuck him for making me take sides with Chris Christie. Not cool, Rand. Representative Markwayne Mullin is a stupid jackass. This past Thursday was a big day for freshman Republican congressman from Oklahoma and guy too dumb to just ask people to call him Mark, for fuck's sake. Markwayne Mullin. First, he came out as a birther, telling a woman at a town hall meeting who attempted to pass him documents supposedly proving that President Barack Obama forged his birth certificate that he believed her, and that the only reason he didn't want to talk about the issue any further was because it had proven itself to be a political loser. Then, at another town meeting the same day, Mullin declared that welfare fraud was, quote, all over the place. And he based this declaration on the fact that he had been at a grocery store recently and saw a man in line ahead of him who looked perfectly fit to Mullin and even had some nice Nikes on, pay for his food with an EBT card. Of course, the latest statistics available from the USDA have the rate of food stamp fraud at around 1% and dropping. But you know what? Never mind the numbers. Even if we can't all agree that the President of the United States was secretly born in Kenya, can't we at least come together to sneer at the needy? I mean, this is still America, goddammit. Worst Congress ever. The 113th Congress, which now stands adjourned for its August recess, is on pace to be the least productive Congress since people started paying attention to how productive Congress is, which takes us back to 1948. Since its session began in January, this Congress has managed to enact a mere 22 pieces of legislation. The 112th Congress, which was the previous bearer of this ignoble standard, at least managed to pass 28 pieces of legislation before it broke for its first August recess. And it's not as if this Congress doesn't have plenty it could be working on. Gun control, immigration reform, replacing the sections of the Voting Rights Act struck down recently by the Supreme Court, raising the minimum wage. Despite a lot of talk, this Congress has managed to accomplish exactly jack shit on any of these issues. And I know that I talk a lot of shit about Republicans, but to be fair, the worthlessness of this Congress is an issue that crosses party lines. Representatives from both parties would rather fuck around and indulge in meaningless theatrics. Democrats and Republicans have both decided that their political careers are more important than taking positive action on issues that affect the lives of hundreds of millions of people. And I know that's nothing new, but I don't know, I can't help but notice that it seems to be getting worse. And it's one of the big reasons why I'm not a member of either major party and wouldn't be even if they paid me to. Which I guess means I'll never get elected to Congress. Oh well. The hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time.